everyone, Chris and Teagan here, back with another video. This is a video that we recorded a little earlier in the week, just kind of a typical breakfast that I do with Teagan. It's both keto friendly and Teagan friendly. Now, I can't emphasize this enough, I don't put Teagan on any sort of diet. She gets to eat other stuff too, but this just kind of gives her a healthy choice of proteins as she's growing and developing. Alright, now Teagan's gonna, ooh, we scared her. Teagan's gonna help me cook some breakfast here. We tend to eat, at least she starts out the same as me, bacon and eggs, and usually she'll move on to oatmeal and some other foods as well. Again, I'm not restricting her to any sort of diet, but just a nice, simple breakfast with bacon and eggs. Well, we'll get to recording that. Now again, we're just gonna make some simple bacon and eggs. I've already got my pan starting to heat. The vent should be turning on. Our vent takes a minute or two to turn on. Now I'm just using some bacon here. It's pretty clean bacon. It doesn't have nitrates or anything, which is what I like. Really good for her. Again, I'm looking for pretty much just what's called heritage pork. That's pork that doesn't grow super fast. It tends to be a little bit more expensive, but essentially you're getting a healthier pig. In the long run, that's just going to help you with your health endeavors as well. And again, anytime an animal's kind of mistreated, it doesn't tend to be the healthiest meat. Now, I've got this bacon through a company called ButcherBox. That's who I go through for most of my meats. It's pretty nice. My meat comes. I have it set up right now for once every other month. We also go to Sprouts. They have a pretty good selection of grass-fed, grass-finished. You could hear Teagan slamming everything. Are those drawers fun to slam? Are you slamming drawers? Alright, well, she's having fun with that. We're going to get to cooking. Alright, we got our pan all nice and hot. So what I'm going to do is just kind of help, even though this is a non-stick pan, this is an older copper pan. You can see there's some scratches and whatnot on there. It hasn't really retained its non-stick surface as well as I'd hope. So I usually add a little bit of oil, olive oil specifically, to kind of help with not sticking. We're going to throw 3 pieces of bacon in there. What do we got? 1, 2, 3. Now the main thing is you don't want to drop it in there. When you drop it in there, the oil tends to splash. That's how you're going to burn yourself. Now I'll wash my hands real quick. Then I'll just basically let it sit there and cook. Nice sizzle there. Now we're going to make some eggs while we're waiting for that bacon to finish off. So now with eggs, my daughter in particular, she really likes scrambled eggs. I'm more of a over easy, over medium type of guy. That's how I like my eggs. But when I'm just cooking for the two of us, I'd rather keep it simple, just her eggs and my eggs combined. That way, if she's particularly hungry, she could have, maybe 2 eggs worth, or if she's not as hungry, maybe she just has 1.5 eggs worth. She usually eats a good amount of eggs. I'm not too worried about that. Now, another reason why I like scrambled eggs, at least in our situation, is scrambled eggs is a really good way to kind of soak up that extra bacon fat. And again, I'm using healthy bacon. So that fat is going to do me pretty good on keto. Wash my hands real quick. Now with eggs, it's important to not season the eggs ahead of time. If you salt the eggs too soon, what happens is the eggs will kind of start to break down. So what I do is I just put them in a bowl, break up the yolks with a fork, and then I do almost like a whisk. I kind of like it when they fluff out a bit, so I try to get a little bit of air in with my scrambled eggs. And again, I won't season these until they're pretty much done cooking. In fact, sometimes I'll just take them out of the pan and then I'll salt them after they're on my plate. And again, I want to soak up all these fats, so I'm going to dump that egg right in there. Now, Teagan's trying to open that cupboard. You kind of hear it in the background. What do you think, T? How's that going? She's getting a little upset at it. This is not doing what she thinks it should do. Alright, so you kind of see the eggs fluffing up a little bit. Let that cook just a tiny bit more. Alright, and we're going to fold that over. Now I'm not trying to do an omelet, so I don't need this to be perfect or anything like that. And I'm going for a nice good little scramble here. And there's fancier ways to do scrambles. We'll do those later on. But this is a nice, easy way, especially when you got a little child who just wants to be up and everything, does not like being contained. This is a nice, quick way to get breakfast done. Now I'm going to use some pink Himalayan salt. Now, if you've never used pink Himalayan salt before, it is different than your other salts. It's not as salty, so you actually have to use quite a bit more of it to get that salt flavor. But it does have a lot of nice minerals in it. I'm going to do some pepper in that. I don't do too much. My daughter's not a huge pepper fan yet. Do a nice little mash up here. Oh, hold on, T. Hold down. We're just going to take those eggs. Kind of see the oil's been soaked up. Now I'm going to actually separate some of these eggs. Because me personally, I like spicy. I'm going to take about half and half. That should be more than enough for my daughter. I'm going to take my half over here. Make sure the bacon stays away, because I'm probably going to give her, not probably, I am going to give her the best piece I can. Now for me, I have two hot sauces I like to use for eggs. Tapatio is one of them, but if I want real spicy, I like this brand here that I got at my local butcher. It's a Ghost Reaper hot sauce. So it's ghost pepper mixed with Carolina Reaper. You don't need a lot of it to go a long way. So usually I just do a nice little couple drops in there. And that will get me sweating. When I eat spicy, I like to sweat. So maybe we'll catch that in the next video. Alright, we got breakfast time. Now we don't have a table for her other than for a Play-Doh table. So I tend to sit her in here. It just makes it easier for us to kind of eat together. And we do eat together is the main thing. Our pediatrician told us was important. Now there's two things I always have with me when I feed her. One, a liquid, either Kavita or, hey, that's not for you, either Kavita or water. And then I always have a paper towel because she's getting to where she's picky. So I clean off her spoon a lot, especially if I'm going to give her yogurt. And we'll go over that when I'm feeding her some yogurt. Now, this is the eggs and bacon we just made. She's at a point where she can actually eat strips of bacon. Now, we didn't start off this way. It started off with me breaking off pieces, like little bite-sized pieces of bacon for her. And she handled those pretty well. And what happened one day was I was eating my bacon, which I always eat my bacon by hand. And she decided she didn't want her pizzas of bacon. She wanted my big piece of bacon. So what I did is I just split the piece of bacon in half, just like I did right there, and gave that to her. She still sometimes will grab the bacon by the bottom of the piece instead of the middle of the piece. She doesn't obviously have the concept of leverage quite yet. So that's why I split it in half. It's just easier for her to grab, especially if she grabs the bottom and chews it out that way. Now she's chewing that up pretty good. You say hi to the camera as you're chewing that. Hi, camera. What do you think? That's how I feed her bacon. Eggs, usually I feed her by a spoon. We'll go over that in just a little bit. Alright, so that is our typical bacon and eggs breakfast. We have that almost every morning. And of course, Teagan gets her snacks throughout the day. That's what she's having right now. So, oh, you want to feed it to me? See yogurt milk? Nope, you're going to take it. That's good. That's good, because these have a little bit of carbs in them, which I can't have, but again, she surely is allowed to have as many carbs as she wants. I just want her to be big and healthy, as she is. So anyways, thank you for joining us, and as always, put Teagan down real quick. Sawadee ka.